Hi, Hey, I'm Frank Hernandez, and this is LA Year 1. So my first year in LA has a lot building up to it. I've always loved film, and when I was 16 years old, I was doing sketch comedy with my friends in high school, and I realized like, oh, this could be a career path where I can make money and like buy food with this. So I kind of, since that point, dedicated my life to doing film. So I was born in the Bronx, raised in Miami, moved to San Francisco to go to film school. Did that for a couple years until I couldn't afford it anymore because my mother passed away and my finances kind of got a little crazy. So I stuck to freelancing. And I did pretty darn well in San Francisco freelancing. But I knew in order to move up in my career, Los Angeles needed to be the next step. I wasn't gonna go back to New York. I'd already lived there, and I never felt like I wanted to go backwards. So I talked to my roommate, who was a singer-songwriter, and both our careers were gonna end up in LA anyway, so after much talking in 2015, we both got in the car and went down to LA. Now, this would be great if we had any sort of plan, but we didn't. You wanna talk about LA Year 1? Talk about LA Week 1. LA Week 1 was us driving down. We had a couple things on Craigslist to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna look for these places. Now, we've gone to Los Angeles like once before, but like Beverly Hills and like that's it. So we didn't know the immensity that was Los Angeles. So when we were going to these different places, we'd go from house to house to house to house, which were like 30, 40 miles apart. At least felt 40 miles apart because Los Angeles traffic is no joke. So like the first like couple of days, we were just hitting walls. And one of them, I literally have a scar of, you could probably get a close up of this at some point. I literally have a scar of because one of the places said it would be open at 7 o'clock in the morning. We were there at 7 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't open, there was nobody there. I got pissed, I jumped the fence to go to the office like, hey, what the fuck? Y'all said y'all were gonna be here. Nobody was there, dead zone. I opened the gate up for my roommate and his mom who was helping us out. And then they're like, your arm's bleeding. I'm like, what? And there was just blood just like going down my arm because I had scratched it on the fence jumping over. So I literally have that scar to this day. So if I wanna remember how tough LA realty is, I can literally look at my arm. We ended up in this place called Palmdale. So for you guys who aren't familiar to Los Angeles now, this is LA. This is like the stuff you know, like the Hollywood sign, Chinese theater, they're literally like they're like there. But Palmdale is like you go north and then you keep going. And then you keep going, and about 90 minutes later, you'll end up in this place called Palmdale. Rent was about $400 a month, and because I didn't have a job, but I had a good amount of savings, I'm like, this is probably the best way. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'll move out of here soon. So we ended up living in Palmdale for 2 years, but a lot of part of that first year, me taking my bike to the Metro Rail, which was this train that took you all the way from Palmdale to like LA. And I would do that about 4 times a week. It cost about $20 every time to do it. So I was losing a lot of money doing that. I did not want to buy a car. I got my license when I was 16, but my best friend, my mom, and another one of my good friends all got into car accidents within a month of each other. So I was just like, I'm not gonna get a car. I am not gonna get a car. And I lived with that mindset for the better part of that year. So I'd go to freelance things to meet with people, to do everything that I could to try and, make rent. I met some of the most interesting characters. One lady particularly, she was the momager of this Instagram model, fitness model. And I was editing some videos for her. Every time I would take my hands away from the keys, if I wasn't typing, she'd stop a stopwatch. And just to make sure that she didn't pay me a second over my hourly rate. So it was a bit rough. There was another time where a friend needed some help on a shoot, and because it's one of my buddies, I'm like, sure, I'll go, I'll help you out. So I took my bike to the train, took the train to downtown LA, rode my bike 10 miles to go to his place, help him shoot for free. It's my homie. I'm not like, whatever, man. There's no money for this. I got you. I love film. Help you out. Cool. After the shoot, heading back towards the train, About 2 miles in, I get a flat tire, so then I walk the bike another 8 miles to go to the train. I miss my train. I have to take the last train home, which is 2 hours later, so I'm sitting at the station for 2 hours later. And there's a part of me that's just like, this sucks, but it's going to be worth it. And I kind of kept that within myself, like, it's going to be worth it. I'm doing this for a reason. And then the credit card debt started piling up because I was taking these freelances and I was helping my homies out, but it wasn't putting food in my fridge. For a good couple of months, I lived almost exclusively off organic brown rice and chana masala from Trader Joe's. It's very inexpensive. You can make like 6 meals out of it. Throw an avocado every once in a while, throw some sriracha. Like you can make things work. And I made it work for a while. If I paid more than $20 at the grocery store, like I'd be like, yo, are you sure you need all that food, bro? I did that for a while, but the credit card debt kept piling and piling and piling up because my savings were already kaput. And I just put my rent on my credit card. When you're putting your rent on your credit card, you know things are not going great financially. But I still wanted to create. I still had that want to make stuff. So I did a mixtape called Hot Boredom. It was like a 4-song mixtape album, just because I wanted to make something. I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a lot of people that I could really like create stuff with. And I also had no money. So what could I make? And I made a mixtape. But just to kind of keep myself sane throughout it. Because I'm like, oh man, I probably need to work at Little Caesars. Like that was really, I was just like, here we go. This is it. It's about that time. But then my birthday came around in 2016 and everyone's leaving like birthday messages on my wall. And one of the things that I like to do is I like to try and respond to every single person on the wall. I don't do it every year, but I try and make an effort when I can to say, hey, thank you, because it's somebody taking time out of their day, even if they were just reminded by Facebook, to say something nice. And, that should be reciprocated. So I felt, why not? And one of those people was one of my friends from film school, and she was working at this post-production facilities, this advertising firm at the time, and I knew that, and I knew I had very little money left, so I very shamelessly, on the actual birthday post, it's just like, hey, thank you so much. Do you have any openings at your company? Like I just cut through the bullshit because I had no bullshit left to give. I have no money, and I just need to be like, hey, do you guys have jobs? Hey, do you guys have jobs? Hey, do you guys have jobs? So thankfully, there actually was a position open at her company. It was like a lower level technical position, which I'm more than qualified for. So I'm like, I'll do that. So I interviewed for that and I got it. It was $2 less than I needed, but it was something. It was $2, it was more dollars than I had previously. I was making no money, I was making some money, and that's the foothold that I needed. To get to that job, I would have to because I gave up on the bike. I kept getting flat tires, screw it. So I'd take my scooter to the train to the city. I would take an Uber from the train to the job, work there for 9 hours, take an Uber to the train, take the train home, take the scooter back, and that whole thing would take about 4 hours. So about an 8-hour commute on top of my job. Nah, man, it was bad. It was absolutely terrible. I did that for 2 days until I asked for a $400 loan from my mentor so I can rent a car for about a month. I did that until I saved up enough money to get my own car. I got the car, which I said I wasn't going to do. I paid back my mentor the $400. And then years later, I've been with this company for a while. I got promoted a number of times, and I'm currently in a position that I love and that I truly am thankful for. I moved from Palmdale, from that far off Palmdale, to Van Nuys, which is significantly closer to my job. It took a lot. It took a lot. That first year specifically took a lot out of me, and it really showed the grit and determination and the passion I have for this business, because anything else I probably would have given up to it. But the fact that after that 8-mile walk, I still wanted to do this meant a whole heck of a lot. So now I'm nearing my 4th year in LA, and it's been up and down. There's been a lot of good, there's been quite a bit of bad. but I'm thankful for the entire experience. Like, this city, even though I wouldn't particularly rank it as my favorite city I've lived in, it's the city that I feel tested me the most, and I felt up to that challenge. It tested me in ways that I was not expecting, emotionally, physically, but my passion for film, my passion for this business, for this industry, because we play pretend. We play make-believe, and we get to do that as a job. I get to pay my bills for my place, for my food, for my car, doing something I love doing. And that's a miracle into itself. I was doing pretty well in San Francisco, but I knew if I wanted to really build up and to really do more, it's here. People in other countries, like I have many international friends who talk about Los Angeles the way Americans talk about Los Angeles. This is still the mecca of movie making, the mecca of pretend. I was born in New York, but Los Angeles is still like, this is movie town. Movie town. And it's just something that I feel was inevitable. It was inevitable that I was gonna come here. I also really like that the people that come here and stay here, because there's a lot of people who have come to the city and gone right the heck back. But the people that have come here and stayed here, like those people I find I have a lot more in common with than most of the people that I've met, because this city's tough for everyone. As this series shows, there's a lot of similar stories of people just like trying to make their life, make pretend happen through very difficult means. And you have to love it, and you have to be determined, and you have to be passionate, and you have to have the grit to deal with some of the nonsense that comes in the way. So if someone has a timer on you, you're not gonna be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like Dave Chappelle would do those skits, like when keeping it real goes wrong. Boy, I've held back so many keeping it real moments. But it was all part of the plan, and 4 years later, I'm so freaking thankful that I stuck to it. Nowadays, like, I'm still working in advertising, still doing a lot of editing and motion graphics, which is, I realized I never even mentioned what I do. So I still work in advertising, I still work in like editing and motion graphics, and it's stuff that I really, really enjoy. Production was never really my jam, and I was an actor in high school. Then I saw myself act and I realized I'm a terrible actor, so I stopped doing that. But post-production just ended up being something that I really enjoyed. It's very meditative, it's something you can do on your own, something that I felt just, post-production has a lot more nerds than I feel maybe the other aspects of it. I feel we're all nerds, but post-production is a very specific type of nerd that I feel I gel along with really well. So I'm still happy to be doing that, but not only am I working in advertising, I'm still working on my side projects. Now that I don't have to worry about my bills as much, working on my side projects is a lot of fun. The love for this doesn't go away. Like, you can throw a bunch of obstacles in my way, but I'm still gonna be doing it. And I get that from my mother. She had a lot of difficulties in her life, but she worked her ass off with a kid. She had a kid at 22 and worked 3 jobs, got herself an associate's degree, and ended up buying her own place. So my mom taught me that if you love something in this world and you truly love it, you do it, and you push yourself to do it. And if you think you have it bad, if you think things are bad, there are people out there who don't have food, who don't have running water, who don't have electricity, you know, and be thankful for the place you're at, because there's always someone that has it worse. So that's my parting words for you.
All right, great, that was perfect.
Boom, nailed it.